Making friends is one of the best parts of the cosplay community, but it can also be one of the toughest parts to navigate. If you're completely new to the community or you're looking to make new friends, this video is definitely for you, but there's also some words of wisdom for those who have been in the community for a while. But before I get into all of that, hi, my name is Ezra Faye. I'm a professional makeup artist, a cosplayer, and honestly, these things are really bothering me and it keeps slipping. So I'm gonna take it off, but at least we saw how I look with it. So I believe that one of the biggest appeals when it does come to going to conventions and cosplaying in general is the prospect of making new friends, specifically friends who share the same interests and passions as you. It makes sense, who wouldn't want that? But I think it can be really easy for some people to overlook boundaries, and that's definitely something that needs to be addressed. This is going to be more in reference to online friendships than it is in real life friendships, but some of the same principles will still apply, and I'm pretty sure you'll be able to tell when. Internet friendships have the potential to become something very lovely and something that can be really great and mutually beneficial. There are definitely a handful of internet friendships that have worked out really well for me, but you have to go into making online friendships with the mindset that it's not going to be anything more than an online friendship, otherwise you're setting yourself up for failure. Everybody wants to make mutuals. That's understandable. I have yet to meet someone who doesn't, because that's how we foster community. But you cannot just rush headfirst into things. And I'm gonna be so blunt when I say this, but your mutuals are not your friends. And I don't say that in a way like, oh, well, everyone that you're mutuals with has ill intent for you and trust nobody. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I'm saying is becoming mutuals does not equate to friendship. Think of it this way. If you're at the mall, let's say you really like Overwatch, okay? And you see someone who's wearing an Overwatch t-shirt and you go up to them and you're like, oh my god, I really like Overwatch. And they're like, well, so do I. Does that mean you're instantly friends? No. So you kind of need to have that same mindset online. Just because someone cosplays from the same anime as you or likes the same TV show as you does not mean you guys are instantly friends. There are going to be people who like the same things as you do, but that does not always mean that there's going to be a friendship or that that person is going to be good for you. There's definitely going to be people out there that you are not compatible with or that just aren't right for you. You also have to take into account that just because you're looking for internet friendship doesn't mean the other person is. It is okay for someone to be like, hey, I have enough friends already right now. I know me personally, it can be hard to continually juggle meeting new people and making new friends, because while I want to, it can be really hard to keep up with the ones that I have as it is. So I might be a little less inclined to initiate more internet friendships. You can't just expect to be instant friends with someone either, because that's just not how friendship works as adults. You are allowed to try and initiate friendships with someone. That's something that you would do in real life. The golden rule for all of this is treat people that you meet online the same way that you would treat people that you meet in person. Please listen to me, especially if you are trying to make internet friends for the first time or you're newer to it. Please, 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 just be so normal about it, okay? I understand that some people have trouble communicating or some people are neurodivergent, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, and this is a safe space for you, but I'm giving everybody some hints and some pointers here on some things that I've seen when people try to do internet friendships, and everybody has to start somewhere. It's a good rule to start off with treating your mutuals like you would a classmate or a coworker. Just because you're in the same environment, that doesn't mean that you're like, oh my god, we're friends because we're in the same class, we're friends because we work at the same place. No, so don't do it just because someone happens to be in the same category as you online. Even if someone is mutuals with you as well as multiple people that you know, you can't just expect them to be open-minded to you as well. Now, it's nice to be open-minded, but that doesn't mean it's always going to happen. Let's say, for instance, I'm friends with person A, B, and C, and my new mutual is also friends with person A, B, and C. That doesn't mean just because we know the same people, we're all going to be in one big happy friend group now. It just doesn't work like that. They may have met those people in completely different ways than they became mutuals with you. You just never know. So don't make any kind of assumptions. But like I said, it's okay to want to initiate a friendship with someone. And this does include people that may not follow you back. But the way that you do it is what's really important here. For the love of everything, please never, ever, ever slide into somebody's DMs and go, "Hi, can we be friends?" It's so awkward to be on the receiving end of that, especially if you don't know who this person is, because it's like you feel very backed into a corner. It's like you either say yes or no. It's very awkward to just be like, no, as much as it is awkward to just leave them on red. But then by saying yes, it's kind of like, well, I don't know anything about you, but I don't want to say no and be rude. That's a really great way, I think, to start a one-sided friendship, which is not what we want to have here. So let me offer you some alternatives instead. Start a conversation. Ask open-ended questions. And asking open-ended questions can mean a lot of things. For example, yes or no questions are conversation killers, but compliments can be as well. Let's say someone slides into my DMs and they're like, "Hey, I really like your cosplays." I'm gonna be like, "Oh my god, thank you so much." But what do I say after that? Obviously, it's courtesy to return the compliment, but even after that, if I say, "Oh, thank you, I like yours too," what are you gonna say? "Thank you." And then it's like, okay, well, now what? Ask things or say things that make it hard to kill the conversation. The only way that the conversation's gonna get killed is if that person leaves you on red, or they just don't respond at all, or worst case scenario, they're just gonna be like, "Hey, I don't really feel like talking." And instead of saying something like, "Hey, I really like your cosplays," you can still say that, but continue it. Be like, "Hey, I really like your Overwatch cosplays. I really like playing Overwatch too. Who's your main?" Something like that. Something that keeps the conversation going and doesn't make it like so the other person doesn't really know what else to say. Asking questions to get to know people is of the essence here, because if you're not getting to know someone, then you have no seeds for a friendship at all. You can't have a friendship with someone that you know nothing about. This is where we get into boundaries a little bit more, is with making friends online, you have to be willing to take no for an answer. If you feel like getting shut down by people or having people not want to talk or not want a friendship is going to be too much for you, then this is not the game for you. Respecting someone's right to say yes or no is absolutely essential. And if you are not willing to do that, then you gotta go. You also have to be able to read the room and take social cues, because with someone saying no or not consenting to continue conversations or consenting to a friendship, some people are not going to be comfortable just directly saying no. I might not be the type of person to be like, "Sorry, I just don't really want to talk." I'm gonna be more short. I'm gonna be more constantly trying to kill the conversation. So let me give you an example. If someone is DMing me and they say, "Hey, I really like your Overwatch cosplays. I also really like Overwatch. Who's your main?" I'm gonna be like, "Oh, my main is Mercy." And then you continue and you're like, "Oh, you play Mercy? I like to play her too, but I like to play Reaper more." And I'm gonna say something like, "Oh, that's cool." You can kind of see you are giving a lot more than you are receiving. And that's like one way to tell if someone's giving you really short answers. It may be a sign that they're not looking to have a conversation right now. You are welcome to try again later, but that brings me into my next point, which is do not be spammy. Don't bombard people because that's very overwhelming, and that is a surefire way to make someone push back from you. For me, it can be very overwhelming to have people responding to every single one of my stories. One will be like a laughing emoji, and then one will be oh, you look so pretty today, and then followed by a haha at a meme that you posted. It's like, why are you responding to every single story and you're not getting a response back, but you keep doing it? If you are sending message after message after message and you're not getting a response, or if you are sending someone paragraphs and you just keep asking them questions and keep trying to talk to them and you are getting very short answers and you're not getting questions returned to you, that means you're doing too much and you need to be able to withdraw. At that point, you have made your presence known. So trust that if the other person wants to talk to you, they know where to find you. If someone wants to, they will. But if they're not, then that's your sign like, hey, maybe this person just isn't interested, and you have to be willing to respect that. And ultimately, you have to realize that your mutuals, as well as people on the internet and even your friends in real life, they owe you nothing. Nobody owes you their time. Nobody owes you their friendship. Of course, there is the exception of, like common courtesy and basic human respect. It doesn't matter how many compliments you've given them, or if you've bought them something off of their Amazon wishlist, or you donated to their Patreon. They still do not owe you anything. You made the conscious choice to give those people your energy, but that does not mean that they have to give it back. Friendships are not transactional. With online friendships too, you have to be willing to accept the fact that they might want to talk a lot one day and then they might not talk to you at all for a really long time. You do not have to apologize to anybody for living your life. Like, if you've got stuff going on, it doesn't matter if it's big or small, or even if you just don't feel like answering your DMs. You have your whole life going on. You don't need to apologize to the people in the screen for living your life. There are definitely instances of online friendships that are very deep and very personal, and sometimes you may meet those people in person. I know it's happened to me, but with 90% of my other mutuals, I like them. I like their work. Some of them I would consider actual friends, but most of them, they're just online mutuals. It's nothing more than that, and nothing is really personal. Don't take it personally when these people don't have the energy for you. Don't overshare with people, because that's another way to really make people push back. When you develop more intimate friendships and longer lasting friendships, it becomes more appropriate to share more information and to share TMI, as long as the other person is willing to accept the TMI. But for starting out friendships, you don't want to start giving them all of your lore, all of your issues in life, and just laying it all out on the table right away. It's just really unhealthy, and it's not good. Like with real life friendships, online friendships take work. They take time to develop. I would consider an online mutual a friend after we've been talking for a little bit, after there's been some mutual back and forth, and it feels like the vibes are good between us. If they're reaching out to me as much as I'm reaching out to them, then that's my sign, okay, hey, this is a friendship here. You might start off just talking about the fandoms you like or your cosplays, and then over time you might ease into talking about your real life more, but you have to be willing to put in the time, just like you would a real life relationship. You can't just be like, oh, we're friends now, here's all of my lore. You can't just do that, because you wouldn't do that to somebody in real life. You also have to be willing to accept that people can grow out of friendships, and that is perfectly normal. There are internet friends that I made in 2021 that I used to talk to every day, and I don't talk to them at all anymore. Back in 2021, I was really into Demon Slayer, and I made a lot of internet friends through Demon Slayer, so that was like the main basis of what we bonded over. I moved on and got into other things over time, and it's like I don't really have anything to talk about with the people that may still really be into Demon Slayer right now. I acknowledge like, oh yeah, I really liked Demon Slayer at a time. It was really there for me when I was going through this phase of my life, but now I'm in a new phase of life and I like something different now. I can still appreciate that friendship that I had during the time while still acknowledge like, hey, it's just not for me right now. It's not because of those people. People just grow apart due to changes in lifestyle and changes in interest. Just because you're friends with someone now, you may not be friends with them in a year. And I'm gonna say this louder for the people in the back. It's okay to unfollow people. I know there's a lot of stigma with like unfollowing people that you're mutuals with, or unfollowing people that you've been following since day one, like that kind of thing. I'm gonna tell you, I've unfollowed so many people. Did I follow them because I was trying to gain more followers while following less people myself? No. Did I unfollow them because they did something terrible to me? No. I unfollowed them because I simply outgrew that relationship. That's okay. That's a part of life. There are people that, even though we're not into the same things anymore and we haven't talked in years, I still follow them because it's someone that I'm like, like this is very near and dear to my heart. But like some people, I'm like, I haven't interacted with you in years. Like you and I aren't into any of the same things anymore. Like it's not quite relevant to me. You cannot follow someone and still be friends with them. I know that sounds crazy, but it is true. I feel like I'm saying something groundbreaking, but it's just not. It's very common, and I just feel like nobody's saying it. You can still be friends with people and not follow them. It's not that serious. And anyone who's like reading that much into it might be a little too invested in social media. With online friendships, you are going to see a lot of groups, a lot of cliques. I personally hate them. I don't consider myself to be a part of any of them. Obviously, any person has like a group of friends that they are more inclined to be around, to talk to interact with. For me, it's like my boyfriend and the people that we hang out with, and that's normal. But I'm talking about like groups of people, especially online, that are so exclusive. I'm trying to think of a good example without like naming names. I'm going to create a fictitious group of, let's say, Attack on Titan cosplayers, okay? And they are very exclusive, and they have like they're like, oh, I'm Aaron and I'm Mikasa and that kind of thing. But it's like, God forbid another Mikasa cosplayer or another Aaron cosplayer wants to be in that group. It's just kind of like you can sense the like from over the screen. It's icky, it's childish, and I have definitely been in a phase of my life where I would look at these groups and be like, oh my god, like I really want to be a part of that. Like I really want to be in the group. It's normal to want to be accepted, especially by people that you might admire. I definitely found myself at times like striving so much to be accepted by them and to please them that I wasn't really paying attention to what I wanted to do or what I was into. And there were times where I would watch certain shows or buy certain cosplays just in hopes of being recognized or accepted by a certain group of people. Like, I'm gonna tell you right now, just give up. Do your own thing. Focus on the people around you and the people that you have, rather than trying so hard to be a part of something that you're just not a part of. If it happens, it'll happen, but you have to let it happen naturally. Just be grateful and enjoy the people that you have around you. Accept new friendships, accept opportunities, but don't try so hard to force yourself into people's bubbles. Groups are gonna happen, cliques are gonna happen. Don't be a part of them. They're nasty and nobody really likes them except for themselves, okay? So let's talk a little bit more about internet friendships when they become real life. One of the best places that you're going to see internet friends in real life is at a convention. For me, this is KatsuCon. I remember my first KatsuCon was so nerve-wracking because I knew that so many people that I was mutuals with online were going to be there, and the prospect of meeting up with your mutuals and your internet friends for the first time can be so nerve-wracking. Like, because I know like a lot of people are different online than they are in person. It can be a lot easier to be confident from the other side of a screen versus in person. So let's talk about when you meet them. It's okay to be nervous, and it's okay to admit that you're nervous. I have definitely said to people before, like, oh my god, like, I'm sorry, I'm just like really nervous to like meet you right now. It's exciting, it's okay, it's normal. They're probably a little bit nervous too. They might be more nervous than you never know. Respect their space, respect them. I know it can be exciting to meet up with mutuals at a con, but don't just assume that because you're internet friends that they owe you their time during the con. A lot of the times when I meet up with mutuals at cons, it's a quick hello, a quick selfie, and then going our separate ways because we both have agendas for the day. We both have things we want to do and other people we want to see. And it's not that I hate them or they hate me or we have some kind of beef. It's just like, no, like, it was really good to put a face to the name. I gotta go. So much of just making friends online is about like just respecting their personal lives. That is the main boundary, is respecting people's personal lives. Don't be mistaken, it goes the other way too. People have to give you respect. Do not give your time and your energy to people who are not respecting your boundaries. If someone is nagging you to hang out at a con and you don't want to, you don't have to. If someone is spamming you with questions and responding to all of your stories, block them. Look, that one loss of a follower is not gonna kill you. Just have respect for yourself as much as you're having respect for other people. It's very important, and it is the key to maintaining your mental health, because if you start giving yourself away all of your energy, it's gonna kill you. You have to make sure that things stay positive, and as soon as you see things begin to go south, withdraw yourself, because it's so much easier to withdraw sooner rather than later, especially when emotions are involved. The moral of the story is, don't get invested too fast. Have respect for other people as well as have respect for yourself, and treat people like people. It's as simple as that. They are not just an avatar behind a screen. That is a real person. If you want me to talk about anything else more in depth, or if you have something to add on, I would love to know about it in the comments. I'd love to hear about experiences, whether they're good or bad, because sometimes sharing your experience can help other people feel less alone. You may have thought like, oh, I thought I was the only one that felt that way, but more than likely with all of these matters, you are not the only one that feels that way. It can just be something that's not talked about very often, and I feel like it should be. And it's perfectly okay to want to formulate friendships within your community as an adult, even if they are online. I feel like in today's day and age, it can be easier than making friends in person. But yeah, please let me know what you think in the comments. And of course, make sure that you like and subscribe so that you can become one of Esker's faves, because I do talk a lot about cosplays and convention related topics, as well as makeup and so much more. So I feel like it's definitely worth sticking around for, but my mouth is like really dry and I keep drinking water and it's not helping. So I guess I'm gonna go figure that out. Okay, bye.